Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our CMC sessions. So great to see you all on this Thursday night. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Got just a few more people entering, and then we're going to get started. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I am Sylvia Sherman. I'm the program director at Community Music Center, and I'm so thrilled that you are here joining us in our second CMC sessions of this season, an encore season of a wonderful series that features Community Music Center faculty and where they get to share a little bit of their musical formation, their life experience, and how that shapes them as teachers and as professional artists in our community. So it's a nice window into our educators and our wonderful CMC musicians. I am going to start off this evening with a land acknowledgement. Community Music Center would like to gratefully acknowledge that we sit on the land of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula and who are still living today. And we do this in order to foster cultural understanding and reconciliation with the First Peoples of this area. Thank you for joining us in that.
Yeah.
We are tonight recording, and I want to note that we're doing this for documentation purposes and so that we can share this event with other people in the future. If you prefer not to be documented, you can simply turn your camera off and you will not be part of the recording. Throughout the evening, we'll be putting some things in the chat about how you can continue your musical journey. We're sure you'll be inspired on how you can either take lessons at Community Music Center and participate in other events. And we're actually in our winter quarter, so you can sign up for some lessons on guitar or piano or whatever your instrument might be that you are interested in. I do want to introduce and thank Grace Huneman, who's in my, there you are, and Traeger Otten. They are the faculty chairs of the Piano and Cultural Traditions Department, respectively, who are the organizers of this wonderful series of events. And tonight, it's my honor to welcome Traeger Otten, who's been with the Community Music Center on faculty for many years as a violin teacher, as a valued member of our Mission District Young Musicians Program faculty, working in the schools, teaching mariachi, and leads Cuban music ensembles at CMC. So he's actually giving his CMC sessions next in 2 weeks from today. You'll get to hear more from him, but tonight he's going to do the honor of introducing our featured artist, Larry Dunn. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'm Traeger. I'm going to be as quick as possible, but I did want to say that uh, I've had the honor and pleasure of working with Larry, and he wrote a song. Written a few songs like off the cuff, like all of a sudden. The guy is an amazing songwriter. And when Grace and I put this grant together, thanks to a grant that Community Music Center has to help out partnerships, it's called a partnership grant, amongst faculty members and to do projects like this. And so since we are both heads of our respective departments, Grace Hinneman is from the piano department, I'm from cultural traditions. And we thought that it would be great to invite faculty to come and talk about the music that they play, talk about the music that they teach, and kind of give you their take on music. And it's an opportunity for all of you to see what kind of amazing faculty we have at the center. And we really do have the stories that come out are just fascinating. When we put this together, I had no idea that it was going to be as interesting as it is. So I'm really happy to have Larry here. He's professional musician. He's opened up for Stevie Ray Vaughan, Four Tops, Tower of Power, Johnny Lee Hooker, Bo Diddley, recorded with Warner Brothers, Rounder Records, Rhino, And at the center, he teaches flat pick and finger pick guitar and blues, rock, jazz, R&B, bluegrass, country. So he is a very versatile faculty member that we have. So now I'd like to hear you talk about your presentation, Larry. So why don't you take it away?
Good enough. Well, thank you, Traeger, for your glowing introduction. I hope to live up to it here. And I'd like to welcome everyone to my CMC sponsored cultural traditions presentation, How Jump Swing Influenced My Music Making. So this is going to be, I'm going to be dealing with the history of this particular style of music and my involvement with it. And I'd like to start with some personal history mixed with some general history as to pertains to jump swing. In my case, it all began at a very early age. My dad was a serious jazz music lover, and I grew up listening to all the great records, the LPs and 78s that he'd play on our family's hi-fi. This was the beginning of my lifelong affair with music. These records included some of the notable big bands from the swing era, as well as Lionel Hampton, Illinois' Jacquet, Nat Cole Trio. I heard Nat Cole before I didn't know he was a singer. I only heard the trio stuff. He's a great piano player. Art Tatum, Wes Montgomery, Alan Toussaint, Joe Pass, and many more. So one could say that I got hooked at an early age on the good stuff. Fast forward some years, and as I grew as a musician and songwriter, among the influential artists I discovered along the way were Charlie Christian, Count Basie, Louis Jordan, and Big Joe Turner, who I'm proud to say that I played in a band that backed him up in a couple of clubs in San Francisco in the late 70s. There was a club called The Palms on Polk, and the Coffee Gallery in North Beach, both of which are now long gone, as are many of the clubs I played over the years. As you may be aware, some of the artists and musicians that I've mentioned so far were influential in the development of the jump swing genre, or more precisely called jump blues. So how would one define jump blues, and what is its origin? Jump blues is dance music and can broadly be defined as up-tempo, jazz-tinged, bluesy music with some boogie-woogie on the side. And lyrically, this is a style of storytelling, often spun in a humorous fashion, and sometimes laced with double entendre. I'd like to play an example of a jump blues song titled Bloodshot Eyes. I used to spend my money to make you look real sweet. I wanted to be proud of you when we walked down the street. Now don't ask me to dress you up in satin and in silk, 'cause your eyes look like two cherries in a glass of buttermilk. I don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell you've been out on a spree. It's plain that you're lying when you say that you've been crying. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Okay, now you'd have to imagine, a band and everything going on there, but I think my favorite lyric is two cherries and a glass of buttermilk. I mean, it just doesn't get a heck of a lot better than that as far as lyrics are concerned. Anyway, 1951 was when that was recorded. Now, as to the origin of jump blues, it began in the late 30s as an offspring of big band swing. It continued to develop through the early 40s and saw its heyday in the mid-40s through the early 50s. During World War II, swing bands were downsizing out of economic necessity. An average big band might comprise 5 saxes, 8 brass, and a 4-piece rhythm section, 17 pieces in all, which is a lot of mouths to feed. And as Traeger knows, he's a big band leader, and keeping everybody happy and satisfied with that many people is a trick. So instead, what jump blues did was jump blues bands generally consist of 6 or 7 pieces, a 4-piece rhythm section with 2 or 3 horns. With the advent of jump blues, the ubiquitous 32-bar AABA form of jazz swing was now being played faster and edgier. Also, 12-bar blues forms, along with boogie woogie feel, were being incorporated into the jump blues style as it developed. Now, I should probably define some of this if I can here. What an AABA form is: a 32-bar form, 32 measures, and it's made up of 4 8-measure sections. The first, the second, and the fourth 8-bar section are called A sections, and they are melodically and harmonically very similar. The third 8-bar section, or B section, is different from the rest. So that then 32-bar form is repeated and repeated and repeated. It's a form that is very much not used as much these days in songwriting, but back then definitely. And for people that don't know about what a 12-bar blues is, the primary form of a 12-bar blues consists of 3 chords played in a set progression over 12 measures. That's about as simple as I can define it. So I'm going to be using these terms later on in the presentation. So I hope that helps for people that aren't aware of what they are, give you a little clarity. Now, moving on, arguably the energy of the smaller jump blues band configurations was now capable of competing with the big band sound. Saxophone at this time had become a central instrument in ensemble, and in fact, the sax sound was taking on a harder edge, as is evident in Illinois' Jacquet solo, in Lionel Hampton's groundbreaking recording of Flying Home in 1942. It got a lot more edge to it if you do listen to it. And it sets the stage for the style of saxophone played in jump blues bands. So I'm going to do my best to give you an idea of what Flying Home is here. It's a 32-bar form. That's one A section. And then a B section. So that would be a slow version. Lionel Hampton would have it. And I noticed in a live recording of it, his guitar player couldn't keep up with him. And so anyway, that's Flying Home. Also, I'd like to mention that an earlier recording of Flying Home was made in 1939 during a live performance by the Benny Goodman Sextet. The great Charlie Christian, an electric guitar pioneer, was introduced for the first time to the audience by Goodman on this live recording of Flying Home before he played one of his influential guitar solos during the recording of the song. Again, this was a first, and with the advent of the electric guitar, it was now possible for guitar to be a solo instrument in an ensemble setting, as the groundbreaking Charlie Christian more than skillfully demonstrated. These recordings of Charlie Christian with the Benny Goodman Sextet have been inspirational for me, as well as for so many guitar players who followed that play jazz and blues. Of course, I've got to mention this as a guitar player. Charlie Christian was one of the greats. Another important artist in the development of jump blues is Count Basie. And his seminal recordings of 1 O'Clock Jump in '37 and Jumping at the Woodside in 1938 were very popular, earning him the title of Jump King of Swing. So let's see here. I'll do my best to give us an example of Jumping at the Woodside. And it would start, Basie would start with, so that would, you start with that, and then we got, let me do that again, then the band comes in. So that would be, thank you. We've got more here, would be 1 O'Clock Jump. Let's see about them. Now this is interesting. He's playing, Count Basie starts out in F, and then he modulates, but just a solo piano, no band. And then he modulates to D flat of all keys. It's kind of an interesting modulation. So he's just playing, he's playing like over this in F, something like this. And then he modulates to D flat. And I've come up with this modulation. It was kind of hard to hear what he was doing. So I, over 12 bar. So that's 1 O'Clock Jump, and it was really popular. People loved to dance to it. And even though Basie would be considered a big band swing artist, his influence on jump blues is considerable. These songs were hugely popular, again, because people loved to dance to them, just as people love to dance to jump blues then and even now with the swing dance crowd. On a musical note, a characteristic of both of these songs is that they are head arrangements, meaning that they were an arrangement made of riffs or motifs, collaboratively written by the band members. So maybe the horn section wrote these licks more than I would guess. And in the case of 1 O'Clock Jump, these riffs were, written over a 12-bar blues form, as I had mentioned. So what do I mean by riffs? I guess another one would be, here's a, yeah. That's 7 Come 11. That's by Benny Goodman. And I don't even know if Benny Goodman wrote that. I bet that Charlie Christian wrote that one.
Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Someone was asking, could you scoot back a little bit so we could see the picking and the frets?
Oh, okay.
Thanks. I forgot to say that when we were doing the sound check.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I hope I didn't hurt the rhythm. It sounded great.
Okay. Well, so what we've got right here is a broadcaster guitar, 1950. This guitar was built. This piece here, in particular, was built in 1950, which would have been 1 year before the first song that I played, Bloodshot Eyes. So, I mean, I'm an old guy and I like old stuff. I love jump blues. Okay, so now, Sylvia, we're going to play Ship Shape, which is Benny Goodman really influenced me on this. This is really definitely an influence from the Benny Goodman sextet, and it's called Ship Shape. Okay, I want to let you know who was playing on that. Jimmy Sanchez was playing drums. Steve Evans was playing the electric bass. John R. Burr was playing piano, and Jeff Urban was playing sax, and yours truly was on the guitar. And I'd like to play another one coming up here too, another video. And I'm going to give a little intro into this. It's a song I call Jumping at the Golden Gate. Now, I use the word jumping there because a lot of the songs, in the jump blues genre back in the 40s were named, like, for instance, 1 O'Clock Jump, and what I just worked with Count Basie, Jumping at the Woodside, Jump, Jive, and Wail. So jump was, I thought I'd use it. Why not? So I have one, Jumping at the Golden Gate, and lyrically, it's probably what you think it's about. And the story for that is that I had a gig over in the East Bay a while ago, and so I'm going from San Francisco, and I'm going onto the Bay Bridge, and it's stuck. I'm on the Bay Bridge, and I'm it's like a parking lot for like an hour or so. My car is overheating. I'm a musician. I haven't got a really fancy sharp car. Anyway. So it's overheating, and I'm going, oh, goodness gracious, and then kept on going and kept on going. And then finally the traffic moved, and I made it over. I crippled over to Oakland, and then got to the quickest phone booth. I didn't have a cell phone. I think this might even be before many people had them. And I phoned up and told the folks at the club, I couldn't make it in Walnut Creek. My car was overheating. Plus it was already like after the first set. So anyway, I drive back, crippled back over to San Francisco, and find out that the reason it was stalled was because an individual decided they wanted to jump from the Bay Bridge. And that was what was causing the traffic backup. And that then became inspiration for me to write a song called Jumping at the Golden Gate. So little backstory on that one.
Have you heard about that cat in San Francisco who decided to jump the gun? From high up on the Golden Gate, he cashed it in before his race was run. He waved goodbye to Alcatraz and went down with the setting sun. Everybody sing jump, from way up high, now jump. People passing by said jump, kiss it all goodbye and jump. From the city side, he lost the whole ball game, struck out at home plate, but he sure could jump at the Golden Gate. Stuck in traffic, running late, wondering why all these cars won't move. I tune in the radio, the DJ said you better find an alternate route. Got the jumper on the rail at the Golden Gate, jamming up your afternoon commute. Everybody sing jump, from way up high, now jump. People passing by said jump, from the city side jump. Kiss it all goodbye, he lost the whole ball game, struck out at home plate, but he sure could jump at the Golden Gate. Bright lights on to make day and night. Took all his friends down for a ride. Then when he got busted, couldn't be trusted. Didn't have a prayer on the inside. With a future in doubt, said I better check out. See you on the other side. Everybody sing jump, from way up high, now jump. People passing by said jump, kiss it all goodbye and jump. From the city side, he lost a whole ball game, struck out at home plate, but it sure could jump at the Golden Gate. Everybody sings jump from way up high. Now jump. People passing by say jump from the city side. Jump. Kids that all get by. Lost a whole ball game. Struck out at home plate, but it goes to jump at the Golden Gate.
Everybody sing jump.
Nice. Jump.
From way up high. Yes, maybe don't. Okay, please don't. So let's moving on here. I should mention again the artists that were playing. Jimmy Sanchez on drums, Steve Evans on bass again, John Arbor on piano, and on B3, Tony Stead playing that, and then myself again on vocal and guitar. Now, I'm going to move on. After the formative years in the late 30s, jump blues was reaching its stride into the 40s, and by the mid 40s, Louis Jordan had become its most influential artist. As an American songwriter and storyteller in song, he's one of the greats. From the 12-bar boogie woogie of Let the Good Times Roll. Hey, everybody, let's have some fun, boom. You only live once, but when you're dead, done, let the good times roll. And moving on, 12-bar blues with a bridge of Choo 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 Boogie to the 16-bar verse, 16-bar chorus of Saturday Night Fish Fry. Now, listening to the lyric of that, it's like a movie. I mean, the great lyric. To the 32-bar AABA form, it bookended by 20-bar intro and ending of 5 guys named Mo to the verse chorus bridge form in 8-bar sections in a minor key of is you is or is you ain't my baby. Now that was all a mouthful, but just to give you an idea, these are a few examples that point out his impressive creative range. And these songs are only a sampling of his vast catalog. Listening to his music inspired me to try my hand at writing in the jump blues style. And here are 2 songs of mine that I believe reflect that. And I should mention regarding lyric that writing about food was one of Louis Jordan's foils. I'm gonna have us play 2 songs. The first one would be Born to Jump. Sylvia will go with that.
I've been given a tip about how to do full screen in a different way, so I'm going to give it a try. If it fails, just let me know.
All right.
Also, I just want to say, Sylvia, by the way, is doing a last-minute fill-in for Chantel, who unfortunately couldn't make it. So thank you very much, Sylvia, and thank you all for having.
Yeah, we're in good hands.
Just a quick, little technical thing, but it's no huge deal. We just want to make it look as good as possible for you.
So you want Born to Jump, right?
Yes, please. Autobiographical too.
Oh, by the way, as long as we have a break, we will have a question and answer later. I forgot to mention that in my intro, so stick around for that.
Jump. I was born to jump. Could swing before I could talk, could jump before I could walk. I was born to jump. Oh, 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 look at that boy go. Rolled out of the cradle, came up jumping on the floor. He no saving him, no way. I was born to jump. I was born to jump. Could swing before I could talk, could jump before I could walk. I was born to jump. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Got the boogie flu. Caught it off the hot bike boogie, jumped right off the groove. My, that's alright. You can keep all that pop stuff, just let me jump and jive. I was raised on jump. I was raised on jump. Heard big band jump every day on a high five that the folks would play. I was raised on jump. Said, don't care if I die. Hey, 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 still sounds good today. It doesn't get no better, man, the jump that Basie played. I was born to jump. I was born to jump. Heard big band jump every day on a high five that the folks would play. I was born to jump.
Look at me, I'm as helpless as it. Yes, indeed. Okay, you got to steal stuff every now and then. So now, as we move on here, I don't know if we have to. We should. I've got taters as well. Speaking of food, we could listen to that maybe. It's another jump song, and it's about food. And it could be some double entendre going on here with this. So, taters, please.
Pass those taters down to me. Won't you pass those taters down to me? I'm so hungry, won't you, baby, please? Give me gravy on mine, oh yes. Give me gravy on mine, oh yes. Smothered in your gravy is the best. Baked, boiled, fried, broiled, peeled, diced, whole, slice, any way you want, all right with me. Dearly pay. For your taters I would dearly pay. And lick your gravy right up off the plate.
you serve them is just fine. Any way you serve them is just fine. I'll eat your taters up anytime. Hash brown, whole brown, butter and chive, ketchup on fries. Anyway, it's all right with me. Some fine recipes and finger-licking hospitality. Won't you pass those taters down my way? Won't you pass those taters down my way? I could eat your taters every day.
What is double entendre?
No. I was making a comment.
Okay, all right. Yeah, what is? Well, I think we all get that. Now, actually, I'm getting kind of hungry, so we should continue here so I can have some dinner later. There were a number of defining artists during the heyday of jump blues, including two that I mentioned earlier that influenced me, Big Joe Turner and Wynonie Harris. At this point, I feel it's important to give cultural credit where it's due and point out that the artists that developed this American tradition that many musicians, and myself included, benefit from are primarily African-American artists. So that should be known and understood. All right, moving on. In the late 40s to early 50s, Wynonie Harris had 15 top 10 hits, including Good Rockin' Tonight and Bloodshot Eyes, the latter of which I played a snippet of earlier in order to illustrate the humor in jump blues lyric, which is ubiquitous. Harris was also known for ribald lyric in many of his songs, including Sitting on It All the Time and Wasn't That Good? And then there's Big Joe Turner, whose Shake, Rattle, and Roll in 54 and Flip, Flop, Fly in 55 are classic boogie woogie jump blues songs. These two classics by Big Joe Turner unquestionably paved the way for rock and roll. I'm going to do my best to give us a little Flip, Flop, Fly here. When I get the blues, I get me a rocking chair. When I get the blues, I get me a rocking chair. When the blues overtake me, gonna rock right out of here. When I get lonesome, I jump on the telephone. Now when I get lonesome, I jump on the telephone. I call my baby, tell her I'm on my way back home. I said, flip, flop, fly, don't care if I die. Flip, flop, fly, don't care if I die. Don't ever leave me, don't ever say goodbye. Flip, flop, fly. Now, I like to play a video of mine, another one. You're getting a whole lot of LD tonight. I hope you don't mind and that you're enjoying the music. So This one is from the Jump Blues Storytelling Neighborhood again. It's entitled After Hours Drinking, which I confess I've done some of that back in the way back, not these days. So, yes.
After hours drinking can be some fun, but the next day my head is pounding like a big kick drum. From bottles of beer, shots all night, after hours to early light. After hours drinking can be the thing to do. Starts out easy with a friend, a drink or two, then comes shot after shot all night, after hours to early light. Evening turns to day, drinking the night away. Oh, what a shock when I get home, the door is locked. She won't answer when I knock. Ring once, twice, ring again. Please, baby, now let me in. Loosens up my tongue. Whiskey starts to talk about 1:30. Drinking, telling lies all night, after hours to early light. When I make it home, all my money's gone. Baby finally lets me in, says, well, where have you been? Think everything's fine? Guess again. Keep this up, better hit the road. This after hours has got to go. After hours, drinking, oh, after hours, drinking, bottles of beer, shots all night. After hours to early light, after hours, drinking, yeah, after hours, drinking, bottles of beer, shots all night, after hours till early light.
I'll mention the artists that are playing on that. On drums is Bowen Brown. On bass is Carl Jepson. Piano is Caroline Dahl. And sax is Ken Baker. And myself again, vocal and guitar. So this brings us into kind of the time when I really began to, these songs, when I was writing them and when I was playing them was in the 90s. And I really can't point to any particular instance that brought about the resurgent popularity and commercial success of the 40s jump blues style that came back into vogue during the swing revival in the 90s. It seemed simply to be a trending, fortuitous conversion of swing dancers and jump blues music. At the time, I just left a touring R&B band at the beginning of that decade and had begun writing music that I felt inspired by, which often turned out to be jump blues songs. I was fortunate enough to put together a band called the Rhythm Sheiks at that time, and with that band was able to perform and record those songs, a lot of what we've been listening to, starting in 93. I should mention a couple of local groups that were playing jump blues at the time that I recall. There was a group called the Johnny Nocturne Band, who had recorded an album on Rounder Records, which is a really good independent label. Another group, Rhythm Town Jive. Another group, LaVey Smith and her Skillet Lickers, became very popular. Were starting their run, and then there was, many others that were getting in on the scene. Then in the mid to late 90s came national recognition of the trending jump blues style with a 90s twist, with hit records charted by Brian Setzer, Royal Crown Review, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, and more. The swing dance hipster dress up scene of the roaring 90s in San Francisco was definitely going on. But at the turn of the century, the dot-com bust, the trends seemed to fade overnight, as trends often do. However, there are still musicians playing jump blues, and there will always be people who love to dance, swing dance to it. That's not going away. Which brings me to the ending of my presentation here. The swing dance revival in the 90s came and went, but many people don't realize that a vibrant swing dance culture had and has been going on since the mid-40s on the Atlantic coast and the Carolinas. The dance style is called the shag. And according to folk tradition there, if a young man from the Carolinas couldn't shag dance, he couldn't get a date. So a young man learned to shag. The music of choice for shag dancers is jump blues. I bring this up because a swing dance couple who are winning many of the shag competitions that are frequently held in that area were dancing to my song Avalon in their winning routine. And because of that, the song became popular in the community. DJs began to include it in their sets they played in the clubs for the shaggers. So I thought, this is pretty good. I'm selling some CDs, so let me write something else that capitalizes on the popularity of the song. So I did some homework and read about this scene, and I wrote another song called Carolina Moon, which has also been well received by the Carolina shag dance community. Maybe we should, looking at time here, it's looking like we may not have much question and answer. Let's just do one song, maybe, Sylvia. Play a Carolina Moon, and then we'll call it.
Yeah.
You think?
Do that. If anybody has a question, please put it in the chat right now. We're not going to have time to do a formal whole question and answer, but look, why don't you just put that in? If anybody has a question, maybe we could even answer it through the chat.
A juke joint just up the street, jump blues record playing on the rockola, young blood dancing with a tan magnolia, sand on the floor, over by the jukebox, dancers shag and boogie walk under a Carolina moon. He's quicksilver on his feet, she's cool in the southern heat. He's clean and sharp as a blade, and she's got moves for every song that's played. Sand on the floor, over by the jukebox, dancers shag and boogie walk under a Carolina moon. Rhythm and blues, he jumping all night long.
I'd like to thank everyone for hanging in there with us. This was a lot of fun to put together. So
Yeah, could we all just turn off, unmute ourselves for 1 second and give Larry a hand?
Bravo, bravo.
Fantastic,
Larry.
fantastic. Beautiful singing, beautiful playing, wonderful guitar playing on it.
well, thank you.
Great songwriting. Couldn't sit
Definitely.
still.
Yeah, that's the idea. Hopefully some people got a chance to get up and dance a little bit because this is dance music after all. That's really
We had
what
some
it is.
comments, people saying they couldn't stay in their seats, so that's, yeah.
Good. That's the idea.
Yeah.
We did have some great questions. Martin was asking about the transition from this into rock and roll, and also was Cab Calloway considered
Right. Yeah.
in the
Cab
genre?
Calloway was kind of in there around that time too, you know. But it also jump blues, you transit like the Big Joe Turner stuff was definitely, you know, integral in the early rock and roll, and also R&B. Jump blues was very influential with rhythm and blues as well. So you know, it was a precursor to a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah, Cab Calloway, like in the Blues Brothers, that sounded jumpy.
Yeah.
Where did the name Jump? Where did the name Jump come from? I know we got to quit in a second.
That's a good question. I would just guess that you know, it came probably from you know, the stuff that Count Basie was doing, you know, jumping at the woodside.
Out of a song title.
Yeah, song titles is just the concept of jumping. If you look and listen to like Jumping at the Woodside or 1 O'Clock Jump, you can see this stuff was moving really quick, and people, you know, it was a very active style. And so I don't know really where the word came from, but it was used. Who knows? Some songwriter might have used it and it became popular.
We know where rock and roll came from. So.
They both seem to describe the dance.
Exactly. They
And
do.
people would say it's really jumping when it was really hot and really good.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, rock, would be like in Saturday Night Fish Fry, Louis Jordan was talking about, and it was rocking, shuffling and something until the break of dawn. So the word rockin' was back in, I think he was writing that like in the mid 40s. So that might, the term has been around.
Someone was also asking if you taught a class in jump blues. I think that would be a great idea. Sylvia, who also is the program manager, we should try to put in a group class together.
It would be, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's really, I really focused in on it. So it could be something that we could do.
And if anybody's interested in any of that, please contact the center. I think you could even contact Larry through the center and say, hey, I'm interested in this. Can you put it together? And it's possible.
Yeah, we could do something too where you're playing fiddle, if you don't mind me calling it fiddle.
Yeah, it is a fiddle.
A Western swing. Bob Wills and the West, and the Playboys, a Western swing band. They were doing this stuff.
That's some hard music to play right there.
So I mean,
I gotta practice.
It spread out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have to call it now. I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but it was a wonderful presentation, Larry. I knew it would be, actually.
Thank you.
It was great to hear your music and your compositions and the bands that you've worked with, and the great quality of the music and quality of the sound on the recordings too was great. The singers, just everything. We had a lot of comments in the chat about that.
No, that's good. Great.
And I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Talking about very different styles of music. But look for the emails. I think everybody should be receiving emails about this, or else you wouldn't be here. So please come back on February 10th, same time, same place. And I got some interesting stuff also.
We'll see you then, Traeger.
But thank you, Larry, so much for doing this, and thanks Sylvia for stepping in at the last minute. You did a great job.
Yes.
You saved us, Sylvia.
My pleasure. It was a wonderful presentation. I enjoyed the music. It was awesome. So thank you.
Lots and lots of fun.
Yeah. You saved us, Sylvia.
Yeah.
And you were really ready. That was great, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Bye.